Well, hey friends, and welcome back. Today, I want to share with you 25 minimalist packing hacks. And I used to be a chronic overpacker. I used to bring bags and bags of stuff with me on trips, and I wouldn't even use half of it. But as I've traveled over the years, I've learned that overpacking just isn't worth it. It's stressful always having to worry about weight limits, and when you arrive at your destination, you're going to need to lug all of that stuff around with you. And so these days, I pack a whole lot less than I used to, and I'm also really big on packing efficiently, making sure that I'm bringing the right things with me on my trip. So today, I want to share with you 25 of the best tips and tricks that I've learned over the years for packing less but better. And these are the tips that I've used for packing for a month in Europe, for Canada in the winter, and a whole bunch of other exciting adventures, all in a carry-on suitcase. So jumping right into this, our first tip is to create a travel capsule. If you're new to the world of capsule wardrobes, essentially it's just a selection of versatile clothing pieces that are designed to be able to be mixed and matched and worn together so that you can really make the most out of a more limited wardrobe. And that is something that is so key when traveling. And so what I'd encourage you to do as you're packing for your next trip is to try planning out your outfits ahead of time and picking pieces that are going to be able to be worn interchangeably with other items. I think that often when we're packing, our tendency is just to throw in random clothing items that we like and then try to figure out once we're on location. But that often leads to overpacking and bringing things with us on a trip that we never end up wearing. So in as much as possible, try to plan for exactly what you're going to need ahead of time, taking into account the weather and any activities you'll be doing on the trip. And then one quick tip, if you want to take this one to the next level, is to take pictures of the outfits that you've put together. That way, when you arrive at your destination, you'll never be left wondering what to wear or which pieces pair with which. And then incorporating a strong color palette is another hack that I love using to really make the most out of a limited wardrobe. This is one of the easiest things that you can do to make sure that the clothing pieces that you bring with you are really going to easily mix and match together and to be able to be paired and worn together in multiple different ways. And so typically when I'm packing for a vacation, I'll try to identify and to define a color palette, usually consisting of neutrals and a few colors that all work well with each other, that I can use as a basis in determining what to pack, just so that I can ensure that as I pair tops with bottoms with accessories and so on, that everything's going to go with each other. And it really helps you to be able to get away with wearing the same pieces of clothing multiple times on a single trip while still keeping things feeling fresh and like you're not wearing the same thing day after day after day. All right, but then number 3 is to plan to wear clothes multiple times and to do laundry if you'll be away longer. I think that sometimes it's easy for us to get into our heads that we need to bring an outfit for every single day of our trip, even if we're going to be gone for over a week. But the truth is, if you're willing to wear clothing items multiple times and just to do laundry as needed, you're going to be able to bring a whole lot less with you. This is something that I'll do pretty much any time I'm going to be traveling to a new location for any longer than a week. I find that it's just a lot easier to do a load of laundry at my destination than to try to cram tons and tons of clothing into my suitcase. And hey, if you're a bit hesitant with this one because you're attached to the laundry products that you use like I am, just bring some from home. I've been using laundry strips now for years, and so what I'll often do is just shove a couple of those in my suitcase before I leave. They take up practically no space and help ensure that I'm going to be able to have fresh and clean laundry. Okay, and then number 4 is a big one, and that's that you need fewer shoes than you think. Even just one pair of shoes can take up so much space in your suitcase. So if you're trying to pack light, the fewer the better. And one rule of thumb that I like to follow for packing shoes is that you should bring one active pair of shoes, one casual pair, and one for fancier occasions. And then just depending on where you're staying and what you'll be doing, sometimes having a good pair of flip-flops on hand is helpful too. On some trips, you might be able to get away with those as your casual pair, but not always. So just something to keep in mind. Then number 5 is just a quick general tip for clothing, and that's just that you can't go wrong with black. It's just one of those timeless, proven options that's always going to look clean and put together. All right, and tip number 6 is one of my favorites, and that's to wear something comfy on your travel day. Especially if you're going to be traveling for a long time, make sure that you're wearing something comfortable so that you'll be able to get as much sleep and as much rest during your travel time as possible so that you'll be refreshed and ready to go when you reach your destination. And one travel day outfit option that I love is this stunning cashmere set from Lily Silk, who I am super excited to be partnering with for this portion of today's video. This set really is that perfect perfect combination where you can wear something incredibly comfortable. This is so cozy, but still look great while doing so. It's perfect for flying, for road trips. This would be so cozy to wear en route to visit family for the holidays, or just for a bit of everyday luxury. And I love that these pieces are super versatile too. They're easy to wear and to style with a ton of different outfits, which, as we've been talking about, is perfect for traveling. And then along those lines, another real travel essential for me is a silk eye mask. I don't go anywhere without mine. And the natural silk fiber of this is super smooth and soft to the touch, plus it's skin friendly. So it can really just help you to relax, to tune out distractions, and to drift off to sleep. And what's great about Lily Silk is they're an environmentally conscious brand as well. Their eye masks and several other items are crafted using fabric remains. They focus on using premium natural fibers rather than synthetic ones. And they also offer easily recyclable packaging options on top of their signature gift boxes. So if you're looking for a treat for yourself or a lovely gift for someone else, Lily Silk really is a great option. And right now they're offering a special discount on their women's apparel and sleepwear. You can get buy one, get one 25% off with the code Ashlyn25. And you can get an extra 12% off Lily Silk everything with the code Ashlyn12. I'll have all the details linked up for you in the description box below, so be sure to check them out. But now let's continue on down our list and talk about number 7, and that's to use the brick folding method. And the brick folding method is a technique that I developed a couple of years back that really tries to capitalize on the advantages of both rolling and folding your clothes. And I go into a lot more detail on exactly how to fold your clothing using this method in this video here, but essentially the idea is that you just want to fold all of your clothing into similar sized brick shapes, and there are a few big benefits to this. First off, it makes organizing your suitcase a whole lot easier. It also makes it so that you can see all of your clothing just at a glance. I found that it can help reduce wrinkles, but then probably my favorite benefit is that if you fold your clothing pieces properly, you'll be able to take out and replace clothing items without things getting all jumbled up in your suitcase. So this technique really has been something of a packing game changer for me. If you've never tried it before, I definitely recommend giving it a go. All right, but then number 8 is to create a packing list. And just depending on where you're going in the world and what you'll be doing, what you'll need to bring with you can vary a lot. And so because of that, I would consider creating a unique packing list for every trip that you take an absolute necessity. So typically what I like to do is I'll just have a note on my phone, and starting about a week before I depart, I'll just start slowly adding to it the things that I need to remember to bring with me. And then when I'm ready to start packing, I can just reference that. But if you are more so the type of person who likes to have a physical list that you can reference and check things off of, I have actually created a free printable PDF checklist that you can customize for your own trip. If you want to check that out, I'll have the link to it in the description box below. But whether you choose to use a digital or a physical packing checklist, I highly recommend using one because it's just an easy way that you can double check that you're not forgetting anything. All right, but then 9 is to lay everything out flat first. Before putting anything into your suitcase, do this first. And this is just an easy way to visually see if you might be missing anything, or if there are things that you've set aside to bring with you that just aren't pulling their weight. Maybe it's a pair of pants that only go with one top, or some shoes that you probably won't even need. And so laying out your clothing prior to packing is just one of those small things that you can do to help ensure that you're bringing the right things with you on your trip. And then number 10 is to skip the just in case items. Whenever you're packing for a trip, there are always going to be a number of what ifs that come up. What if I need this? What if I need this? What if I need this? I want to encourage you to silence those questions and to leave behind those just in case items. Something that I like to keep in mind when traveling is the 20/20 rule. So if there's an item that I'm kind of debating whether or not I'm going to need, if I can replace that item wherever I'm going for less than $20 in less than 20 minutes, my decision is usually to leave it at home. Okay, but then 11 is another quick one, and that's just to break things into smaller quantities. If there's a specific shampoo that you want to bring on your trip and it comes in this massive bottle, try pouring that into a smaller travel size container. It's going to help you save space and to make sure that you're bringing only what you need. And the same thing goes for other toiletries, medicines, snacks, and anything else that you might have too much of. You really want to make sure that you're not just bringing the right things, but the right amount of things. And then 12 is to get the adapters that you need. If you're traveling to a different country, this can be one of those things that's really easy to forget, but it's essential. And something that I like to do is to try to find adapters with multiple ports. That way I can use one adapter to charge multiple things at once. Since I often travel not only with my phone, but also with my camera and laptop, this really helps to save space because I don't need to use multiple adapters. And then 13 is to wrap fragile items in clothing. Whether you're trying to pack a delicate electronic like a camera, something that's glass, or maybe even a souvenir on your return trip home. One of my favorite hacks just to make sure that these items stay safe and secure in our suitcases is just to wrap them in clothing. It's going to help provide a natural buffer just to make sure that those items stay safe. Then number 14 is for my friends who like to travel frequently, and that's to keep your travel size liquids pre-packed in a TSA approved bag so that you can just easily grab them and go. I find that if you travel even just a couple of times a year, this is something that can really simplify the packing process for you. It makes packing quick and easy, and all I'll do when I'm about to leave on a trip is just check all of my travel size bottles and refill any quickly that might be running low. Then number 15 is to ditch the massive cosmetics case. I'm just gonna say it, I honestly wouldn't recommend those big cosmetic cases if you're trying to pack light. They really are just a pretty inefficient use of space. So instead, I prefer traveling with something a bit more compact so that I can fill up completely and thus more efficiently use the space. When you're traveling only with a carry-on, your space is naturally going to be a bit more limited, so you want to try to use that available real estate as efficiently as possible. And then 16 is to compartmentalize and to use bags liberally. The more that you can organize by kind and group like items together in your suitcase, the more organized it's going to be. So I love just using a variety of bags and pouches to help organize things like shoes, toiletries, electronics, and a ton of other things in my suitcase. These really are the secret weapon that help me to maintain order in my suitcase and to make sure that everything doesn't just become a jumbled mess. The little pro tip with this one is I always like to pack an extra bag in my suitcase. That way I can use it either as a tote at my destination or for dirty laundry. I just find that they always come in handy. Then let's talk about bringing it all together, and number 17 is to pack from biggest to smallest. Packing a suitcase is always a bit like playing a game of Tetris. You need to figure out what's going to fit best where. And what I really find makes this process a lot easier is to pack from biggest to smallest. So I'll look at everything that needs to go in my suitcase and try to put all of the bigger pieces into place first. And once all the bigger pieces are in, I'll go in and kind of fill in the cracks with the smaller items. And it's just a lot easier than doing it the other way around. That's really just going to help make sure that everything fits in a little bit easier. Then 18 is to bring the right suitcase. If you travel frequently, especially using a carry-on suitcase like I do, I highly recommend investing in some carry-on luggage with spinners. Trust me, as someone who's had suitcases with both fixed and spinning wheels, the spinners really do make a difference. It makes it so that you don't need to carry around the weight of a giant tote bag or backpack, and it also makes navigating busy airports a whole lot easier. And the next, number 19, is to wear your bulkiest clothing. And this is a super important one if you're trying to travel during the winter. A good heavy winter coat and boots can easily take up the entire space of your carry-on. But if you're wearing them on your person as you go through security, it's not a problem at all. So if you're trying to travel to a cold weather location in the middle of winter, like I was with my trip to Canada in January a couple years ago, this tip really is a game changer. And 20 is to pack snacks, but not too many. Food can be such a gamble when you're traveling, so it's always a good idea to have a few snacks on hand. And so personally, whenever I'm going on a long flight or a road trip, I always try to have a few granola or protein bars, as well as a few other snacks with me. The great thing too is that as you eat them during the course of your trip, you're going to be freeing up space in your bag so that you have a bit more wiggle room and space for souvenirs if you want them. But then 21 is to bring your own water bottle. It can be really easy to forget to stay properly hydrated when you're traveling, so bringing your own water bottle with you can be really helpful. Of course, if you're flying, you'll want to make sure that it's empty as you're going through security. But then when you get on the other side, try to fill it up before boarding your flight. Airlines often provide atrociously small glasses of water, so by having and bringing your own water bottle with you can make sure that you're not going thirsty. Then 22 is just to download any movies, audiobooks, music, or other entertainment ahead of time. That way you're not subject to the entertainment options provided by the airline you're flying. Then just another small tip, number 23, is to bring a pen. This is one of those things that can be easy to forget, but really comes in handy for filling out custom forms and other documents. And speaking of official documents, something that I found to be really helpful is just to have a small bag that you can carry with you that has all of your important documents. On travel days, you can be doing a lot of pulling out and putting away different documents like your passport or plane tickets. So something that I like to do is just carry a small wristlet that helps keep everything accessible and contained. And as I'm wandering around the airport, I'll just keep that around my wrist so that everything that I need is right at my fingertips. But then last but not least, number 25 is to create a before heading out the door checklist. So here's the thing. The vast majority of items we can replace if we forget to bring them on the trip, but there are a few items that we just can't get by without. So apart from my regular packing list, I like to have a smaller, separate list of things that I just want to double check that I have before walking out the door. So for me, that list includes my passport, my wallet, my phone, my AirPods, medication, and any other required travel documents for my intended destination. This is just one of those things that I like to double check before walking out the door so I can have peace of mind as I head to the airport. All right, well, those are some of my favorite packing tips, and I really hope that they're helpful for you as you're preparing for your next trip. Now, I'd love to know, what was your favorite tip I mentioned, or is there a packing hack that you like to use that I didn't mention here? I'd love to hear about it, so be sure to let me know what those are in the comments below. And that's going to be everything from me for this one, but as always, don't forget to give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, friends, I am wishing you all an amazing day.